Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, where we bring you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation every week. Featuring expert consultants and small business owners who have found success but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their firsthand experience. Now, let's get down to business on Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Donyshia Boston Hill, keeper of the brand, marketing, and digital agency, along with Michael Chung.
We're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship. We bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview top business leaders in the industry.
Now, today, helping provide us with business empowerment is a good friend of ours, Justin T. Manning. He's the CEO and co-founder of Addict Inc. Justin, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Such an honor to be with Keeper of the Brand, Marketing Digital Solutions at Valley Stream.
We're so happy to have you, Justin. We've heard so much about your project, and we really wanted to share your story with our listeners out there. So let's start off by telling us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you.
Sure. Justin T. Manning is the name. Professional announcer, student enrollment officer, and of course, a good man of KA Psi. One of the things that I love to do is encourage people on and off the race course, which inspired the name Metal Addict. Long story short, obstacle course racing and endurance sports is not something that a lot of folks who look like us participate in. So you've heard of the Tough Man, you've heard of the Tough Mudders, you've heard of Spartan races, but what does it take to actually do one? Most importantly, can you name 5 athletes that look like you and I? The answer is no, because it's not there. However, since we love the sport, there are groups of us that are out there as a global network who actually want to go out and do more than pay for a shirt and a bib. So we want to actually come home with some hardware, thus the name Metal Addict. The addiction began in 2014. Granted that here I was doing just a 9-to-5, just broadcasting or just working in student enrollment. And I said, wait a minute. I have a background in Division I sports. I've done cross country. I've done track. Now I'm working an office, a desk. I'm not even 30 years old yet. Let me live a little bit. And I found my interest there in Spartan racing, and I did my first one. Then I met my significant other, and I got her also into the sport, and she loves it. So we're traveling up and down the entire Northeast, where she's basically chasing me because I'm the sprinter, and I learned how to slow down because she's not. And at the end of the race season, we said, what is there to do now? And the answer was nothing. What is there to do in the off season between December and March? So we started looking around on social media, finding out what other people are doing that share the same shared interests. And we found that there was a gap. And within those gaps is where you can actually find achievement as well as find solutions. So digital marketing solutions, same thing with Metal Addict. We wanted to foster a community where everyone can celebrate achievement on and off the race course for everyone who aspires to earn their medals around the world. And we've successfully done that. We're now the premier community on Instagram, #1 on being tagged with any race medals around the world. If I wake up at 3 a.m., I'm getting tagged on something with Italy or a race brand or maybe a sponsor that's asking for something to do with the brand Metal Addict. And from that, we've been able to produce boot camps in the off season, networking events, and even in a pandemic, we've been able to assist not one, but several race brands to actually activate those racers that they so desperately want to meet on the course.
That's fantastic, Justin. Kudos to you. And I'll tell you, where were you in 2017 when I participated in a fun run and walked away? Actually, I did not walk away. I was rolled away in the EMS.
No way.
And injured myself. I have a 3-structure injury in my left leg because I wanted a bib and a t-shirt. So,
you went through a lot for somewhere that didn't give you a medal.
I lasted the first obstacle and I wiped out. I knew I wasn't supposed to be on the course, and I should have listened to myself. I was out of shape, and and Mike, you'll learn. And I think I told Mike the other day that I had an injury, and this is the story, Mike. So you're hearing it here first.
What's the story?
I climbed the 8-foot wall, got to the top of the wall. There was no rope to climb down.
Come straight down, Donyshia.
I jumped. I jumped down, Mike. I jumped down, Justin. There was nothing, and wiped out. To the hospital I went. So
goodness.
So your story is not uncommon, because that's the reason why a lot of people don't do the sport. The first thing is you do sign a death waiver once I send you off at the start lines, and I do work for contracted to work with Spartan Race, right? That's the number one brand that's out there.
It wasn't Spartan, I'll tell you that.
Thank you for clarifying.
I survived the Spartan. I do have a Spartan t-shirt and medal. So
yay. Okay, she's got the medal, which is good. But there are other runs, similar, Rugged Maniac or maybe Rock 5K or
survived all of those.
All of those you survived, which is great. But one thing that I will say about our community is every time when you're on the course, you definitely meet a friend. And one of the things that I do as a host or work in the start line, MC, hosting, announcing is I have a time where everyone in the crowd gets to know the person on your left as well as to your right. There's a start line speech that we give because once y'all go off, y'all are family looking out for one another. So if Donyshia over there going over a hill, Mike, who she don't know from Delaware or Timbuktu, is one of the one person that's reaching down to either pull her up or to help her down. We call that a Spartan high five, and that's something that I encourage amongst everyone. So as far as that ankle, let's talk on the sidelines. There's quite a few Spartans that have a history of those injuries, but have definitely prevailed. We have all type of athletes of all different sizes and backgrounds, whether it's 5,000 people or a smaller race of 500. That wall is going to be there, but the message is you're not alone.
That's fantastic. So how did you get started? How did you connect with Spartan and some of these other fun runs?
So I mentioned in 2014 is when I started. It was New Jersey. I was bored and said, okay, I need to do something challenging. So I called a friend. So the first thing for anybody who wants to get involved is don't do it by yourself. Because when I did it, I didn't read the course map. I didn't read the directions. I actually scrolled down through a whole death waiver and said, die. Agree. Next. $15 insurance waiver. Okay. Now they just want more money. It's insurance. When I get to the start line, which was in Nowhereville, Jersey, I had no idea it was advertised for 8 miles. It turned out to be 12.5, and you had to swim a lake. And wow. I had never, ever trained for anything like this, including 8-foot wall, 10-foot wall, rope climbing out of a pool of water. So my best friend and I got through it in 2 hours and 45 minutes. His time was 2 hours and 51. But at that point, it really didn't matter because even though we never trained for something like this, Donyshia, we kind of have our background in athleticism, but we met so many people like-minded who were just doing the same thing too. And from that, I guess the best advice I give to anyone who wants to go into hosting is you need to have the experience first before you go ahead and grab a mic.
I think that's accurate. And I'll tell you that I agree. I agree 100% that with some of these, you want that medal, you want that hardware, and we want to join your team and become medal addicts. But you must take a friend. I learned that the day I injured myself, I had a group of friends with me, some of my sorority sisters. I did not have my core group of I am helping you up this wall. I am never going to leave you, which is my husband and also my god brother. So standing inside my garage, I cried and I knew I should not have went to Randall's Island to participate in the city challenge. I knew that I should not be jumping over taxis and police cars. I knew.
What year was this?
2017. I knew that the two most important men in my life, my husband and my god brother, were not by my side, and they have been every race prior to that I should not have been on the course.
I'm glad you went with the team, and I know that your husband was absolutely there, absolutely 100% supportive. With that said,
he went to a funeral.
So I know he was there in spirit.
He was there in spirit, and he met me at the hospital. But that's a long.
He made the trip. He was the first person you called. Man, you making me work. So I'm sure since Kevin is always thinking about yourself because he's a family man, and since I'm his mentee, damn, make me work. I will say this. I am very, very close with City Challenge Race, and I have a history with that. So when my girlfriend came on to City Challenge Race, that was also her first race too, Donyshia. And guess what? She almost had an injury. And I almost had an injury because I left her at the start line.
Whoa.
So everybody went in a wave of 30. CITI, City Challenge Race, go. Because I'm the start line guy. I'm the guy that helps with the festival and everything. I run as a runner. I turn around, and after the last person leaves, there's one angry little short girl doing the walk. You left me. I'm like, yo, there's people watching here. How dare you? I learned something that day. So if you're in a couple and you're doing something for the first time, please make sure that you go together, because what happened from that was she found herself running with Black Girls Run, another large group who actually does these races, and they have their own schedule. Shout out to them. Shout out to Miss Alexander, aka. They're fantastic. They're at almost every race, and City Challenge race is a good introduction for any racer that want to get involved with it. It's closer and arguably safer. Even though you are signing a death waiver, you're not going up a mountain, but you are going over taxis, you're going over walls to have itself be known as an OCR. And it's also the #1 rated urban obstacle course race. So if you're looking for something that is close, they do have a race the third weekend of May this year in Jersey City. They just got approved 2 weeks ago. And as of a week ago, they got the date confirmed. Of course, this is all pending on their governor. But they're one of few races that will be doing that. But with regards to running as a team, do it. Donyshia, you flinched like you looked at the obstacle like, I ain't doing it.
Well, I'll tell you that
no. And it's all optional.
It is. I think mud is better than asphalt, but that's just me. I'm speaking from experience.
You sound like me.
You're listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Donyshia Boston Hill, along with Mike Chung, and our guest today is Justin T. Manning, CEO and co-founder of Addict Inc.
Let's go.
So, absolutely. So, Justin, how did you become the announcer? The start man.
So I spoke on the importance of actually knowing the product before you become the face of the product. You have to also know that I have a background where I'm classically trained. I have a father who was classically trained as a tenor. My mother's a beautiful soprano, and they sang in the church choir. Naturally, I got to also work on my vocal intonation, and they both also sent me to the Manhattan School of Music. My instrument of choice was not the bass, but it turned out to be that way. And by playing the bass, you're able to hear everything, or at least your responsibility is to maintain the rhythm. And that's some of the transferable skills that I have when working the microphone. Now, finding a significant other going into Kev, just like he did, is the biggest part, because I didn't realize I had a talent until my significant other pointed out, hey, you're being requested a lot, but are you getting paid? Are you doing something about this? This was unfamiliar territory to me. I'm thinking that I can go around and just do charitable contributions, but there's other tax things that go with that I was not privy to as well. So that's one of the reasons why we started Metal Addict in September 2015, and it got incorporated within the next 4 months. Now the name is trademarked for the next few years. So that way, when we do apparel and merch and so forth, we're good to go. The best part about hosting, though, since we're answering this question, is since I'm the face of the race, it really just comes with your reputation and your branding. Keeper of the brand, right? My brand is very clean cut. I do my best to make sure that what you see on social media is the exact narrative that I want you to see. Even on this interview here, I might be auditioning or applying for a job. No idea. But I do know that as an ambassador for a sport, this is something that folks will likely ask about. And it's definitely taking on other ventures, whether I'm writing a children's book or otherwise I am doing boot camps with Metal Addict. People know that the brand is good. People know it's a reliable brand, and they know that there's a face to the race. Since then, all of 2019, I traveled from New York to Seattle. Never been to Seattle before, to Utah. And these are random places that you would think of, but it's really exciting because now I have a story to tell to those who look like me. Whether it's my mentor, Larry Legend, on the independent professional wrestling circuit, or just not seeing a face in endurance sports, there is someone or a brand that is out there that can definitely continue the tradition, whether I look like you or not.
That's so inspiring. You mentioned about your workshops for your enhanced physical and mental health. Can you tell talk about that a little bit more for our listeners and your children book and how that all started?
So with the boot camps, we started that in 2018, and there are 2 links on YouTube to highlight our 4 boot camps. You'll see on YouTube that we invested. We gathered almost all. In fact, since this is radio, we gathered all of OCR teams within the Northeast to participate in an event called The Pit. It was indoor, and both of the events sold out. It was done on Atlantic Avenue, 5 blocks away from the Barclays Center, and a functional fitness gym. Shout out to Steve Pock, P-O-K-K. He was our lead instructor, and the event was autopiloted just for people to either stay in shape for their upcoming events or to learn what functional fitness was. When I say functional fitness, it's still another language to other folks. This is also an endurance sport that people are just now learning about because they see it on ESPN all the time. You know, people doing Atlas carries, people doing pull-ups.
Right.
It's difficult trying to show people what they don't see on TV. Mm-hmm. And when you show them something in person, now they want to learn. So now since we have the children's book, the kids are learning, wait, what's a burpee? And they're learning that they have more endurance than everybody on this panel now. Like, what do you mean you're not tired? You just did 30 burpees. Yeah, let's go run a half mile. Yeah, let's go run a half mile. Oh, gosh. And this is what we're teaching. So if one thing leads to another, and it's all connected to the branding. Check it out on YouTube. We call the event The Pit 1. We did a recap, and it was sponsored by Inspire Socks. So we had a sponsor for that. We had the Pit 2, same sponsors. And in conjunction with City Challenge Race, we had Conquer the City, which is a boot camp to the upcoming event. And for that one, we had Monster Energy, Hoplite Outfitters, and a few other sponsors as well.
That's so inspiring. It's just like, it seems like, there's only a few selected who go out there and give that learning experience, especially to children. I'm sure that we can all agree that that's such an important part of growing up. So it's Definitely. Really nice to hear that, someone's out there doing that job, filling in that work. So everyone, you are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Justin Manning, CEO and co-founder of Metal Addict Inc. My name is Michael Chung, along with Donyshia Boston Hill on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. So Justin, can you tell us just briefly about what was like your favorite project that you had? And also, what is a project that you haven't worked on that you'd like to add to your portfolio?
Favorite project has to be the book, The Metal Club Kids. This is the first and only book dedicated to functional fitness for children. It is available on Amazon, Target, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, you name it. And it's basically about our main character, Zoe. Zoe is a young black girl who attends Stanley Academy. And in the story, Zoe's doing her very first functional fitness endurance sport. And it's amazing. There's never been a book that can quite show you how to prepare for a functional fitness trip, as well as the importance and aspect of teamwork, like how we spoke about earlier in this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All of her friends, one of her friends in particular was better than everyone else. So he joined the cool kids. So Zoe wanted to go work out so she can go and be like, hey, like, what about me? And along the course, many of the cool kids and the people she's running with, they get stuck. She'll get stuck in the mud. Someone can't go up that wall, just like Donyshia over there. I'm sure she has a feature or one of the kids look like her because we wanted everyone to be represented in the book. We even have a disability athlete in here.
Oh, wow.
It's something we want to include for everyone, regardless of age. So that's the best project that I definitely have. Myself and Simone co-wrote the book, and we did a darn good job. It has now won an award last year, 2020, Author of the Year book. I'll give you the name of it when it pops up in a moment. We were also featured on ABC in Washington, D.C., and a few other places as well. So there will be a sequel, and that is definitely a testament to our hard work and experience on the course and how inclusive the sport can be if we all work together.
Now, what's one of your proudest moments with Metal Addict?
The book is one thing, but I would also say that the proudest moment for Metal Addict would be, I'm going to say this for brownie points, listening to my co-founder, Simone, who happens to be my fiance. I was given a tryout for Spartan Race in Citi Field, and it's been a dream of mine to get that microphone. The previous year, they gave me the microphone for the kids. So if you've ever been to Citi Field, you're not on home base. You're not anywhere near the field. You're by the bridge. And I'm sending off the kids in waves of 50 at a time every half hour. Every half hour, we switch between the half mile run and 1 mile. Point is, I would always hear the stadium announcer's voice, and I'm like, yo, I could do that. Can that be me? In February of 2019, I get an email from Sparta Race saying, okay, we've seen your stuff, we've seen what you do, and we want to actually interview you. we're going to set this date for you in 2 weeks for you to do this interview. So I'm like, okay, great. I get a call on lunch with eggs in my mouth. It's Spartan Race. Hey, you ready for your interview? That same day. I'm like, yes. Nailed it. He says, we're going to try you out in Citi Field. I almost choke on my food. Citi Field happens, and my best achievement was grabbing the microphone. The camera's in my face. The temperature is about 70 degrees. I'm by the Mets dugout, and I don't even have a Spartan shirt on. Cameraman goes 5, 4, and the supervisor and all the Spartans just there like, okay, let's see how this goes. 2, 1. And there's something like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Citi Field Spartan Race. Once that happened, my supervisor does a slow walk with his clipboard, head down. He's from Arizona. So here's your contract. That was it. Wow. I had 10 dates.
Wait a second. Mike, where did that voice come out of Justin? Did you think that voice was going to come out of Justin?
I did not. He surprised us. That was a good one, though.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Definitely, and now points on that one.
Thank you. And now it's my job to pass it forward to the next generation, because you're not just getting functional fitness with Metal Addict. You're learning public speaking and the confidence to do so others can see you. So the other half of that story is working Citi Field, and I have families. A father comes up to me with his son and goes, how did you get this job? And it wasn't from a place of ill will. Like, you could feel that, sense his third eye. But he was like, dude, we heard you and we felt that. And we just wanted to say thank you. It doesn't hit until you actually do something that you think is impossible. So by pioneering is one thing, but pioneering leadership is what it's all about.
Note to self, Justin is training Keith on sports announcing.
Keith's on, let's go. Comes with a side of Kevin Boston Hill, one of my mentors and one of the best voices I've heard.
So, I want to do a rapid fire. You ready? You ready, Mike? We're going to give Justin some rapid fire here.
All right.
Bring it on.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore of athletes?
Arthur Ashe, Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, Colin Kaepernick. Trying to get this right. Serena Williams. And let's go for it.
I think you're running out of head.
Kelsey Shields.
Okay, but if you have to choose one, who is the greatest of all time? Just one.
The GOAT? Out of all of them?
Who's the GOAT?
I would say Jordan, but he a Q. We're going to go with Wilt Chamberlain.
All right.
Fantastic. How do you define success?
Success can be measured by consistency, effort, and preparation.
You hear sports announcers internationally. What's your dream announcer job?
Dream announcer job would be announcing in Madison Square Garden, Matchroom Boxing or DAZN Network, or Madison Square Garden with WWE or a professional wrestling company.
Very nice. Very nice. Who's your favorite wrestler?
The Rock. I could give you 5. Where he at? There he is. The Rock. This is my favorite Rock version, if I could plug that real quick.
And ladies and gentlemen, for those listening, he's showing us a bobblehead of Dwayne Johnson. This is
the pop toy. Real quick about this one. This has added significance because The Rock first came to WWE thinking that if he had the same formula as his father and his grandfather, it would work out. And it didn't. The crowd actually backfired on him and said some rather derogatory things, which The Rock went to Vince McMahon and said, what do I need to do? And Vince McMahon told him, I'm turning you heel. He pairs him up with the Nation of Domination. And this was the first time I got to meet The Rock, not Rocky Maivia. And he became the people's champ, and he's number one. Plus, he cuts a really good promo on the spot, and that's inspiration for me.
Mike, I think we need to find out more about this first meeting with The Rock. Don't you agree?
Definitely.
Can't wait.
Yeah, pass me your info there, Justin.
So, Justin, tell us about that experience.
Meeting The Rock?
Meeting The Rock.
So, no, I don't. Did I say I met The Rock?
I thought you said you met The Rock.
No, I was referring to The Rock meeting with Vince McMahon and actually meeting with him. Okay. But I can tell you one time I did meet someone of added significance. It was in 2019, New York. It was called WrestleCon, and it was held at the Hilton near Times Square. This guy, Eric Bischoff, has a book. If you don't know who Eric Bischoff is, he beat the WWE for 83 weeks with WCW, Ted Turner. And he's the one that basically brought Hulk Hogan from WWE, as well as a slew of others. It's because of The Rock and Stone Cold that they were able to overcome that and some other things. But I did meet Eric Bischoff, and he dropped a magnificent promo on how good of an announcer I am. And that's in my highlight reel.
Well, I'm going to just tell you, I absolutely have a clear understanding of why Kevin Boston Hill is your mentor.
Thanks, Donyshia.
With the wrestling connection and voiceover. But what's next for you and Metal Addict?
What's next is our continued partnerships and new partnerships with other race organizations. We will be working with The Race this year. For those unfamiliar with The Race, it's the largest operated and owned African-American race series that happens once a year in Atlanta. We've been with them for the last 3 years, but this year it looks like we may actually become a partner instead of just client business to business. So that's next. Pace Runs is the largest African-American owned and operated road racing company in the Northeast. So we're looking forward to that continued partnership. Last but not least, perhaps I'll be able to do some speaking classes for those that are looking for more of an announcer or MC setting. Being an announcer myself, I've grown my networking with several ring announcers that you've seen on television already.
Nice. And what's your mantra?
It used to be where there's a will, there's a way. And that kind of is kind of corny, but it is what it is. But definitely to be the cap of my dreams. I just look at my mentors and I think of a few quotes that they have, and it just gets me by. But definitely one of my mantras is watch what it is that you say. I come up with a better mantra for you. But long story short, like, you control your narrative is my mantra right now.
Was that like your, I guess, what ignited you to get into like the business side of the industry? What made you choose or pursue that entrepreneurship part of the business?
Because of the lack of representation within leadership. That's basically it. Whenever you go, in fact, I'd redirect this question back to you guys, the host. Name 5 Black announcers.
Look, I worked many years in sports. I know none, but I will tell you, it's good to hear your voice and good to see you working your magic behind the mic. So thank you so much for joining us today. Please leave our audience with some final words on how they can connect with you and Metal Addict.
Absolutely. Shout out to Keeper of the Brand Marketing Digital Solutions. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Donyshia. If you guys want to get in touch with me for either voiceover classes or otherwise just connecting, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at JTM Talks. The Instagram community, the business that started it all, is Metal Addict, MEDALADDICT. Clubhouse. My username is Metal Addict, MEDALADDICT. And just like Kevin, my interest in professional wrestling, I have the largest professional wrestling community on Clubhouse. It was just approved 3 weeks ago, but now we're getting people from Fox Sports in the audience and Cameo and professional wrestlers that just sit in the audience and you just try to invite them. They're not coming, but go ahead and find me. More than likely, I'll invite you to speak. I'm huge on public speaking, and there's only 3 rules. Don't allow any cursing, watch what you say, and respect the roles of everyone in the room. If you see Donyshia in the audience, do not ask her, hey, can I get an interview? The same way you wouldn't ask The Rock if you could start his next movie. Respect.
We'd like to thank you, Justin T. Manning, CEO and co-founder of Metal Addict Inc., and also your co-founder who is working magic behind the scenes. So
Simone Wah.
I'll leave you with DB's philosophy. Do not put a limit on anything. You can dream it, and the further you'll go. We'd like to thank you for being our guest today and being with us and listening. My name is Donyshia Boston Hill, along with Michael Chung, your co-host and producers. This is an NCC Foundation Business Leaders Council production. Visit us at ncc/WHPC for more information, available on iHeartRadio as a podcast on iTunes, Android, or Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.